So you have such a broad aperture of like trends and topics and ideas at kind of the intersection of energy, technology, the built environment that you look at. What are you most excited about writing on right now?
The most excited I get is when I sit down with a real estate sponsor, a GP, who's taking a new angle on something I haven't seen before. And that could be something really, really basic. Like I spent some time with some operators who were doing scattered site student housing, buying up small buildings and converting it to student housing near major universities.
It's basically like SFR, but for
students. Yeah, exactly. So got some of the same dynamics of co-living, of like shared spaces and all that, but a little bit more stability of demand because you're near a major university. I spent some time with a guy doing land development in Georgia who's just going out and buying rural and exurban land and parceling it out and generating incredible returns doing that. So there's no real technology involved in those models and they're subscale, but are these things that an institution may see in 3 to 5 years and say like, hey, that's interesting. That's got enough heft that it's worth taking a hard look at. And we'll see that curve the same way, senior housing, student housing, single family rental gained that mainstream popularity over the last 20 years. One last thing I'm really excited about is this idea of building entirely new cities. It's a Thesis Driven readers know I do occasionally write a kooky article about an entrepreneur building a new city. I've written a handful of them profiling entrepreneurs doing this.
And just to be clear, entrepreneurs doing this, not nation states doing this.
Yes, I also cover some of the nation states building new cities, but you have to look at some of those skeptically and why they're doing them. It's not always with the best of intentions. Egypt, going deep into debt to build its new capital and basically make it revolution-proof. They're a military dictatorship. I don't know how I feel about that. But then you look on the other side of someone like Jan Schramek, CEO of California Forever, who worked with a number of West Coast investors, bought 60,000 acres of land in Solano County, and is planning to build an entirely new city that will eventually hold 400,000 people. That will come down to a ballot referendum in Solano County this year. He needs to win that referendum to build his city. But there's a lot of really interesting tailwinds there that, he's got some great employers signed up. He's got a great package of benefits for the residents in Solano County today. It's not a wealthy Bay Area county necessarily. It's a very working class county. So I think Jan Schramek is doing something really cool there.
What's the best example of a privately developed city that is super successful, where like one entity had the idea, the vision for the municipality, and it came fully to fruition?
I mean, Irvine, California is the first I would give. I mean, the Irvine company built Irvine, California, in the 60s and 70s as a place. Irvine is part of the broader like LA Metro, so it's not like
now it is.
It's not like a standalone place necessarily, but that was conceived and built by a single company over a course of a couple decades. There's plenty of other more standalone examples. The Villages in Florida is one that's really emerged over the past 20 years. That was built by an entrepreneur, now holds, I believe, about 125,000 individuals. So some of these can have real scale. Very tough to do something like that in a place like California today, though.
Yeah, well, hopefully they'll be able to make it through.
I'm rooting for them.
Yeah.